Welcome to Haunted Whispers, where the past lingers and the unknown awaits. Every day, we present scary and terrifying stories, uncovering the mysteries of places shrouded in fear and legend. From chilling ghost stories to real-life encounters, join us as we chronicle the supernatural and uncover the truth behind the whispers that haunt the night. Prepare yourself for a story that will give you goosebumps. This is a haunted whisper. Dare to listen? In a small forgotten town, nestled deep within the forested mountains of Indonesia, stood an abandoned hospital. Once a bustling center of healing and hope, it now lay in ruins, its corridors echoing with the whispers of the past. Locals spoke of the hospital in hushed tones, their faces pale with fear as they recounted tales of tormented spirits and ghostly apparitions. Despite the warnings, the legend of the haunted hospital reached the ears of a group of foreign ghost hunters. Eager to uncover the truth behind the chilling tales. The team, led by the intrepid Alex Carter, consisted of 4 members: Emma, a sensitive with a knack for sensing the supernatural; Jake, the tech expert; Sarah, the historian; and Mark, the cameraman. Their destination was clear, and their mission was to document any paranormal activity they encountered. As they arrived at the hospital, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows across the crumbling facade. The building loomed before them, its broken windows and ivy-covered walls a testament to years of neglect. The team set up their equipment, their breath visible in the cold, night air. "Ready?" Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The others nodded, and they stepped into the darkness. The hospital's interior was even more haunting than its exterior. Peeling paint hung from the walls, and debris littered the floors. The air was thick with the scent of decay. Emma shivered, her senses heightened by the oppressive atmosphere. "I can feel them," she said, her voice trembling. "They're here." Jake set up the infrared cameras and EVP recorders, while Sarah began documenting their surroundings. Mark captured everything on his camera, his lens focusing on the eerie details of the abandoned ward. Hours passed with little activity. The team began to wonder if the stories were just that, stories. But as the clock struck midnight, the temperature plummeted, and a cold, unnatural breeze swept through the halls. "Did you feel that?" Alex asked, his breath forming a frosty mist. Before anyone could respond, a faint whisper echoed through the corridor. It was barely audible, but it sent chills down their spines. "Help me." Emma's eyes widened in terror. That voice, it's coming from the surgical wing. They followed the sound, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. The whispers grew louder, more desperate, as they neared the surgical wing. The door creaked open, revealing a room bathed in an eerie, pale light. The operating table in the center of the room was covered in a thin layer of dust. Instruments lay scattered around, and a large, cracked mirror reflected their uneasy faces. Emma closed her eyes, focusing on the presence she felt. "They're trapped here," she said. "Spirits of patients who never left this place. They want us to know what happened to them. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. The temperature dropped even further, and the whispers turned into anguished cries. The team huddled together, fear gripping their hearts. "Look!" Sarah pointed to the mirror. In the reflection, they saw the ghostly figures of doctors and nurses. Their faces twisted in pain and despair. The spirits moved with purpose, reenacting the horrors that had transpired in the hospital's final days. The team watched in horror as the scene unfolded. The doctors and nurses were performing surgeries, but something was terribly wrong. Patients screamed in agony as the procedures went awry. Blood splattered across the walls, and the spirits of the dead hovered, their eyes hollow and filled with suffering. "We need to get out of here," Jake said, his voice shaking. "This place is cursed." But the door wouldn't budge. The cries grew louder, more insistent. Emma clutched her head, trying to block out the noise. "We have to help them," she said. "They won't let us leave until we do." Alex nodded, determination in his eyes. "We need to find out what happened here." "Sarah, any records of what went wrong?" Sarah pulled out her notes, her hands trembling. "There was a major scandal just before the hospital shut down. Experimental surgeries gone wrong, patients dying under mysterious circumstances. The hospital was closed, and the staff disappeared without a trace." "That must be it," Alex said. "The spirits are reliving their final moments, trapped in an endless loop of pain. We need to find a way to break the cycle." They searched the room for clues, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Jake's EVP recorder crackled to life, capturing the ghostly whispers. "Forgive us." Emma's eyes widened. The spirits want forgiveness. They need closure. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the room grew even colder. The spirits appeared around them, their forms flickering like candle flames. One spirit, a doctor with hollow eyes and a blood-stained coat, stepped forward. "Please," he whispered. "Release us from this torment." Alex took a deep breath. "We forgive you. You were just trying to help. Rest now, and find peace." The spirit's anguished cries softened, replaced by a sense of calm. The room grew warmer, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. One by one, the spirits faded, their forms dissolving into the ether. The door creaked open, and the team stumbled out into the hallway, their hearts still racing. The hospital seemed less foreboding now, its halls no longer echoing with the cries of the tormented. "Let's get out of here," Alex said. "We've done what we came to do." As they emerged into the cool night air, the hospital behind them seemed almost peaceful. The legends of the haunted hospital would continue, but the spirits within had finally found rest. Back at their base, the team reviewed the footage. The whispers, the apparitions, the chilling events, all captured on film. Their mission had been a success, but the experience had left them shaken. "Sometimes," Emma said, "the scariest thing isn't the ghosts themselves, but the pain and suffering that binds them to this world." The others nodded in agreement. They had uncovered the truth behind the haunted hospital. but the memories of that night would stay with them forever. The footage captured during their investigation quickly went viral, captivating audiences worldwide. Paranormal enthusiasts, skeptics, and horror aficionados alike were drawn to the chilling tale. The team was invited to numerous interviews and talk shows, where they recounted their harrowing experience. One evening, as they were preparing for a live interview, Sarah received a package with no return address. Inside was an old, leather-bound journal. The pages were yellowed with age, and the handwriting was barely legible. It belonged to Dr. Jonathan Marwick, the chief surgeon of the abandoned hospital. "I think this journal might hold the key to understanding what truly happened," Sarah said, flipping through the fragile pages. The team gathered around as Sarah read aloud the entries. The journal detailed Dr. Marwick's descent into madness, his desperate attempts to push the boundaries of medical science, and the horrors that followed. He wrote of the experimental surgeries, the patient's suffering, and the guilt that consumed him. "He knew what he was doing was wrong," Sarah said, her voice shaking. "But he was obsessed with finding a cure for his wife's terminal illness. He used the patients as guinea pigs, hoping to perfect the procedure before trying it on her." The final entry was the most disturbing. Dr. Marwick described the night the hospital was shut down, the night he attempted the experimental surgery on his wife. The procedure failed, and she died in agony. Overcome with grief and guilt, he took his own life in the surgical wing. "The spirits we encountered were his victims," Emma said softly. "They were trapped by the pain and suffering he inflicted on them." Jake leaned back, his face pale. No wonder the hospital was so haunted. Their spirits were bound to the place of their torment. Alex's expression hardened. "We need to make sure this story is told. People need to know the truth about what happened in that hospital." The team decided to publish Dr. Marwick's journal alongside their documentary. The combination of first-hand accounts and documented evidence created a powerful narrative that captivated audiences even more. As their story spread, the team received messages from people who had lost loved ones in the hospital. They shared their gratitude for bringing closure to a dark chapter in their lives. The team also received messages from other paranormal investigators, some offering their support, others warning them of the dangers of delving too deep into the supernatural. One night, as they were reviewing their next investigation site, Emma's phone rang. The voice on the other end was shaky and filled with fear. "My name is Dr. Samuel Reed. I used to work at the hospital before it closed. I need to meet with you. There's something you need to know." Intrigued and wary, the team agreed to meet Dr. Reed at a nearby cafe. He was an elderly man, his hands trembling as he clutched a worn briefcase. "Thank you for meeting me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "There's something I need to show you." He opened the briefcase and pulled out a stack of documents, including patient records, photographs, and handwritten notes. "These are the records of Dr. Marwick's experiments," he explained. "I took them with me when the hospital was shut down. I couldn't let this information be buried." The documents detailed the extent of Dr. Marwick's experiments, the number of patients involved, and the horrific procedures they underwent. There were also letters from Dr. Marwick to his wife, revealing his growing desperation and guilt. "Why are you giving this to us?" Alex asked. Dr. Reed's eyes filled with tears. "I was complicit. I knew what was happening, but I did nothing to stop it. I need to atone for my silence. You need to make this public." The team promised to honor Dr. Reed's request. They incorporated the new evidence into their documentary, adding another layer of depth and horror to the story. As they continued their work, the team felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just ghost hunters, they were storytellers, uncovering the truth behind the supernatural and giving voice to those who had been silenced. Whispers in the abandoned ward became a phenomenon, sparking debates about the ethics of medical experimentation, the existence of the supernatural, and the impact of unresolved trauma on the human soul. It was a story that resonated with people across the world, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface of our reality. Years later, the abandoned hospital was finally demolished, its ruins replaced by a memorial park dedicated to the victims of Dr. Marwick's experiments. The spirits, now at peace, no longer haunted the halls. The town, once shrouded in fear and mystery, began to heal. And the team, forever changed by their experience, continued their quest to uncover the truth behind the world's most haunted places, knowing that sometimes, the most terrifying stories are the ones that are true. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed our stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Remember, the shadows hold many secrets, and here at Haunted Whispers, we are dedicated to unveiling them all. Until next time, stay curious and keep listening to the Haunted Whispers.